Hey guys, it's Miss Delcambre. Today's Thursday, March 18th, and here's a rundown of our day. So, please make sure that if you're seeing this video, you probably have already joined my new Google Classroom. So, I've set up a Google Classroom for everybody's class. So, let me go to my first hour. There's my Google Classroom. So, click on the classwork tab, and I've already updated with the new Zoom links, the new Google Slides. I put in the fourth 9 weeks journal, so you don't have to go to the Bitmoji classroom. You can pop open the Google Slides, and it has our fourth 9 weeks journal already there with hyperlinks to the slides with the notes. Okay, your notes for this 9 weeks. I'm not printing them out, guys, for everybody because you only have 6 notes. We only have 6 groups that we need to go back through. So we're finishing up our geometry unit, and then we're starting into our data analysis. My favorite is all about the data. Okay, so that is our notes. And then here's what we've done for today. We're doing our volume equations today. This is your homework. We've also have a song on there, which is our volume song, and you can click on that to watch that. All right. One of the things that we're doing every day since the mock star, we're going to be doing about 1 to maybe 3, depends on the question, questions on the mock star. So real quick, if you participate in the mock star, awesome job. If not, it's okay. That we will be looking at these questions. So the first question that was which Venn diagram shows the correct relationships among the different sets of the numbers, and what shows the correct placement of negative 648? And my answer choice was A, because negative 648 is an integer. It's not a whole number. If you looked at the other ones, there would not be a whole number here. Whole numbers don't go here. Again, it wouldn't be a whole number. And integers do not go on the inside. Whole numbers do. So you got to think back to that Venn diagram. That negative 648 would be considered an integer, and it would be right here. Okay, my second question that we went over is this one, and this is over histograms. We haven't done histograms because that's in Module 17, but I had some people who got it right because this is, got to use some thinking here, some analytical thinking. So the table shows the number of photocopies made during one day at each of the 25 schools in the school district. All right, so here was our data. Which histogram displays all the data in the table correctly? So one of my students looked, and they were kind of looking at it and saying, okay, well, look, each answer choice had a different amount, like a range of numbers. So 800 to 899. Well, they looked up here and they said, okay, that's 1, 2, 3 times that fell into it. So 3. All right. So if I'm looking, it can't be this one because this one didn't go up to 3. And it can't be this one because this went up to 2. Okay. So it was between these two. So if you look at these two answer choices, you can see, okay, well, where are they different? Well, here, these two are the same. And here, these two are different. So if I look at 1,000 to 1,099 and 1,100 to 1,199, I can see which one would be correct. So when you go back up here and you count, there were 8 schools that fell between this number of copies and 6 schools that fell in the number between this copy. So it was 8 and 6. And then if you look at your bar graph, this showed 7. So this could not be right because there are different numbers. So my answer would have been H. Okay. Again, this is some data analysis, and we're going to be starting on this in our next unit. Next unit is coming up next week. All righty. So, Okay. So we're going to do our volume unit, and I'm going to kind of do this a little different today. All right, so solving volume equations. So volume, just like when you did it in science, the form is how much the box or how much it contains or can hold up to. So the formula is length times width times height. You've seen this before. It's the same way in science. However, on your mock star and on your star reference sheet, it is different. For some reason, they decided to give you this volume is equal to the big B times H. And the big B just means the area of the base. Okay, so it's still the area of a base is length times width. So instead of writing out length times width, they just wrote a big H. They mean the exact same thing. About 5 years ago, they had both on there, and then here recently they just took off one and then just had it as the big B times H. So I want you to understand these both mean the same exact thing. And that big B, the volume of the base, is just what does this equal. So that's what the big B equals. All right. So here we have our question. The rectangular swimming pool is 25 meters long, 17.5 meters wide, and on average depth is 1.5 meters. What is the volume of the pool? Okay, so again, you write down your formula just like we've been doing. You plug in what you know. So they plugged in what they knew, and then they started solving. So they made them all improper fractions and then multiplied their 2,625 over 4. They simplified and got 656 and 1/4 cubic meters. Now, you could also do this with decimals, and you would get the same answer. You get the same answer because you would do their decimal equivalent. Okay? All right, here we have another question. Now that's finding the volume. Here we're given the volume. So Samuel has an ant farm that has a volume of 375 cubic inches. The width of the ant farm is 2.5 inches and the length is 15 inches. What is the height? So you find your information that you need. You write your formula. You plug in what you know. You start solving. So 15 times 2.5 gives me 37.5. Times something gives me 375. Okay, we divide each side by 37.5, and that something, that height, would equal 10. It would be 10 inches, not 10 inches squared, not 10 inches cubed, 10 inches because it's one dimension. Okay, here's our next question. The height, let me just tilt this way. The height of the shape is 15/16 cubic feet. So you got to find the volume. Again, do you see I wrote down the equation first? So volume equals length times width times height. I like to write it out just like this with all three. Have the volume. So the volume went there. 3/4 was a length. 1/2 is a width. I don't know what the height is. I'm going to solve with what I can do. So 3/4 times 1/2 is 3/8. So 3/8 times H gives me 15 over 16. Okay, so I need to get rid of this 3/8, so that's why I multiplied by 8 over 3. So I multiply by its reciprocal, and I can get rid of this 3/8. So if I multiply by one side, I must multiply on the other side. So when I multiply, I could multiply 8 by 15. That's perfectly fine, but I want to see if I can simplify to get some friendly numbers. Well, I can because 8 can go into 16 2 times, and 8 can go into 8 and 1. 15 and 3 can go into 3 one time, and 3 can go into 15 5 times. So then I multiply 1 times 5, which is a lot nicer than 8 times 15. So 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 2 is 2. So my answer is 5/2. However, when I make that improper fraction, a mixed number goes in 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So that's where I get that 2 and 1/2. Okay, let's turn the page over. All right, so Miguel has a toolbox that measures 18.5 inches by 12.5 inches by 4 inches. What is the volume of the toolbox? So I have this toolbox that I drew out because, I'm a visual person. I like to see things. All right, there's my toolbox. Okay, and I'm going to show you two ways. So here in the green, I showed you just with making it as a fraction. So then I made these fractions into mixed numbers. So I have 37 over 2 times 25 over 2 times 4. Then I simplified it. Okay, so this shows me I'm simplifying. Simplifying to get some easier numbers to work with. So 2 can go into 4 2 times. 2 can go into 2 once, and then I had another 2. 2 can go into 2 one time, and 2 can go into itself one time. So then I'm left with just this 37 times 25. And when I multiply it out, I get 925. So my answer would be 925 cubic inches. That's how I would say that. Now, on the next one, what if I don't like fractions? I can always change them to decimals. And I'll show you that we get the same answer. So when we multiply again, I always like to multiply 2 numbers at a time, which is the way you're supposed to do it. So 18.5 times 12.5. Well, when I multiplied that, I got 231 and 25 hundredths. Now, remember, I'm not done. I only multiplied 2. I've got to multiply by that third number, which is 4. So I take that number, multiply it by 4, and 4 times 231 and 25 hundredths gives me 925. Same answer, one with fractions, one with decimals. I want you to understand which one works best for you. Okay, some people veer toward making things decimals and it will work fine. Some people will stick with fractions, will work fine. No matter what, we're going to get the same result. So it's 925 cubic inches. Okay, so that does it for our notes on your homework tonight. I'm going to close this down. Close you. Open up my Google Classroom. There's a volume song if you want to. It has a parody to the happy song. Because I'm happy, that clap along, you will. I don't even know who sings the song anymore. It's been so long. All right, so. Wait a minute. I know who sang that song. It's that guy with the big tall hat. Who's that guy with the big tall hat? So Chloe will know who it is. She'll let me know later. All right, so here we go with solving your volume equations. You have a total of 8 questions. I went ahead and rewrote the formula up here, length times width times height. So please make sure you remember you're multiplying each side. Do not add. Please don't add. When we're dealing with volume, we multiply all of the 3 numbers together. So best thing for you to do is rewrite the formula, plug in what you know, and then solve. Okay? Numbers 1 through 4 are basic pictures, finding the volume. Looking at numbers 6 and 7 and 8, you're finding the missing width, height, or length. So again, rewrite your formula, plug in what you're given, and then you can solve it that way. All right, so tomorrow we are going to be doing a Google slide activity, kind of like a breakout room. It's called the Giant Goblin. You will see it tomorrow. And I'm also going to pair you up with some partners for you to work at. It's going over area of triangles, area of parallelograms, volume. I don't think I threw some trapezoids in there, but I may. All right, so that does it for me today. Hopefully you had a wonderful day, and take care, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.